The memory of them doesn't arrive like a guest. It arrives like a thief. It waits for the precise moment you're most vulnerable, 3 a.m. in the quiet, or in the split second of silence after a song ends, and it steals your peace. You find yourself scrolling through old conversations, dissecting a text that stopped mattering months ago, searching for the version of them that existed before the damage. You know better. You know they were the architect of your worst days. You know the way they spoke to you, the way they made you shrink, the way they treated your boundaries like suggestions. Yet, your heart aches for them. Not for who they were at the end, but for a version of them that likely never existed outside of your own need to survive the relationship. It is the most punishing paradox of the human experience, the biological drive to return to the fire that burned you, simply because you know how the heat feels. This isn't about being weak. It isn't about lacking self-respect. It's about the way the human brain is conditioned to prioritize familiarity over safety. When you miss someone who hurt you, you aren't mourning a loss. You are suffering from a corruption of your own data. Your brain, in its desperate attempt to maintain internal consistency, has edited the movie of your relationship. It has cut the scenes where you were crying in the bathroom. It has cut the scenes where you felt small, desperate, and invisible. It has looped only the highlight reel, the moments of intense connection, the laughter, the promises, until they are all that remain in your conscious mind. Your brain prefers a painful, familiar narrative to an empty, uncertain reality. A known pain provides a script. It gives you a role to play. It provides a sense of order. The alternative, being alone, being unattached, having to face a world where they no longer exist, is a chaotic void. So, your psyche chooses the damage it can predict over the peace it cannot. Then there is the completion paradox. We are narrative-seeking creatures. We need beginnings, middles, and ends. When someone hurts us and then exits, or when we are forced to leave, the story is left unfinished. The brain hates an open loop. It obsesses over the why. It keeps rerunning the film, editing the dialogue, changing your reactions, trying to force a different ending where you finally get the resolution you were denied. You aren't missing them, you are missing the version of yourself that could have made it work. You are missing the fantasy of if only. You miss them because they became the mirror in which you viewed your own worth. If they chose you, even for a moment, it meant you were valuable. If they treated you badly, you convinced yourself that if you were just a little bit more patient, a little bit more understanding, or a little bit more perfect, they would change. You invested so much of your identity into the project of them that when the project collapsed, you weren't just left without a partner. You were left without a purpose. You miss the weight of the effort. You miss the intensity of the struggle. High-conflict relationships produce a specific kind of chemistry, a cocktail of cortisol and dopamine that feels like the most profound connection of your life. When that is stripped away, the silence that follows feels unbearable, not because the relationship was good, but because the contrast is so violent. You are suffering from physiological withdrawal. You are a junkie waiting for a hit, even though you know the hit is poison. So, how do you stop? You have to start by accepting that missing them is not a feeling of love. It is a feeling of incompleteness. You have to stop treating your memories like a history book and start treating them like a crime scene. Stop trying to achieve closure through them. Closure is not a conversation. It is a decision. It is the realization that the version of them you miss is a ghost, and the version of them that stayed is a warning. The next time the memory tries to sneak in, don't try to push it away. Acknowledge it. Admit that yes, the laughter was real, and yes, the connection was intense. But place it next to the cost. Look at the balance sheet of your own soul. Was the laughter worth the erosion of your confidence? Was the connection worth the constant state of hypervigilance? You are not missing them. You are missing the feeling of being wanted, even if that wanting came from a place of dysfunction. You are missing the illusion that you could fix something broken. One day, you will realize that you don't actually miss the person who hurt you. You miss the person you were before you had to shrink yourself just to fit into their life. That person is still there. They've been waiting for you to stop looking back, so they can finally move forward. If you've been replaying a script that stopped serving you a long time ago, it's time to stop editing the ending. Let the loop break. Subscribe to Brain Unlocked to peel back the layers of your own programming. There is a much clearer version of you waiting on the other side of this. I'll see you in the next one.